Welcome to Vetted Conversations, where we delve into the foundations, workings, and current challenges facing our American experiment. In today's confusing world, it's more important than ever to understand what keeps our nation strong and how we, as patriotic citizens, can actively participate.
Our mission is to ensure that you, the listener, gain the knowledge and insights alongside us, your veteran and military family member hosts, to become more informed and engaged citizens.
In a world of partisan noise, we lead with a bias of patriotism, cutting through the static with clarity, insight, and action. Join us as we learn together and help equip you with the tools to protect and preserve what matters most, our shared American ideals. So let's get into it.
Welcome back to the Vetted Conversations podcast. We have a fun, different kind of episode today. Our team, which is made of, as you might imagine, veterans and military spouses, military family members, has a really strong representation by female military spouses. And some of us, not me, but some of my colleagues are also veterans. So we get a lot of crossover in their experience and understanding there. But all of us are involved in the military spouse and military family community from different angles and based on our very different perspectives. So, of course, being a military spouse myself, I find that the experience is one that is really hard to explain to somebody else. So there are unbelievable benefits to having people who are working on these issues actually really be in this community and know firsthand what the challenges, opportunities, feelings, sense of patriotism is for people in our community. So without further ado, people have heard me on the podcast before, but they have not heard all the amazing other people on our team who represent the people who have built the programs, created the incredible stuff that we've done, made it all happen, and are helping to support keeping our country safe by being military family members. So I will start off by asking everyone to introduce themselves, and then we will get into a little workplace chat, talking about our experience running a team as military family members. So without further ado, to kick it off, Madison, can you be the first person to introduce yourself?
I'm Madison. I'm in Kansas City. I am the Associate Director of Marketing here at We the Veterans, and I am an Army spouse.
All right, sticking with the Army, Loren, introduce yourself, please.
Hey everyone, I'm Loren Westerfield. I'm an Army National Guard spouse and a program director here at We the Veterans and Military Families.
And a veteran?
Yes, I think we're focused on military spousing today. So yes, I am also an active duty Army veteran as well. Thank you, Ellen.
No problem. And to jump to our other double hat wearer, Julie, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, Julie Hendricks. I'm the Director of Operations located in Northern Virginia, and I am married to an active duty Navy officer, and I was also in the Navy myself before my husband was in the Navy, I will add.
Oh yeah, definitely get that seniority going, because we all know that in houses, military houses, the fact that military members know how to take orders is definitely part of the equation on the home front as well. And I'm saying that as a Navy spouse myself.
Yes, it goes both ways.
So back to the Army, Mary Bennett.
Hi, I'm Mary Bennett Doty, or MB. I am an Army spouse and Associate Director of Programs at We the Veterans.
And newest team member, Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle, and I am the Associate Director of Patriotic Participation Programs, and I am an Air Force spouse.
And then last, but absolutely not at all least, because she may be the most important person on the team, Madeline, will you introduce yourself and talk about your unique positioning working with us?
Yes, my name is Madeline Paris, and I'm an active duty Army spouse located in Fort Cavazos, Texas. And I am the Chief Executive Assistant here at We the Veterans, and I'm also a Chief Executive Assistant with Squared Away.
Yeah, so Squared Away is a military spouse founded business that we have used almost since our inception as a nonprofit organization to get help and to hire competent, smart military spouses who are working from home, as we all are. And of course, that is one of the unique challenges, right? You know, the icebreaker question we can use to just give a little bit of color is we all work in our home offices. And we are spread all around the country. So can I ask every person, what is the snack that you most often eat at your home desk that we don't know about?
I will start, and I think we've talked about this actually before, Ellen, but I have been known to grab a spoonful of Nutella and just eat the Nutella without anything else because it makes me really happy.
I'm really happy you said that because I get the organic kind from Whole Foods, so it makes me feel like it's a little bit better. But my desk snacks are a spoonful of Nutella or drinking jalapeno juice, which everyone knows about because I say it on some of our calls.
I don't think it's much healthier, Ellen.
I know it's
good
not.
try.
It's not. Who else?
I feel like this is a safe space with the Nutella thing. Do you guys have a bowl or do you eat straight out of the jar? Because my husband definitely gives me grief for eating out of the jar, but that is 100% a move that I make daily. And then I'd also say peanut butter pretzels or a macro bar, but I don't know if we're allowed to really shout out brand names here, but macro bar is really good. That's all.
I feel like I eat everything. I eat everything from ice cream to chips on a daily basis. So there's not very many healthy options in my little snack drawer, but I'm working on it.
Loren, what's your secret snack that you're hiding behind the camera angle?
I'm really particular with my family being as I am about not having food upstairs or in bedrooms, and my office happens to be upstairs, so it's very rare you'll find me with snacks. But if I did, I would grab a handful of pistachios that are already shelled, and they would be gone probably before I hit my office.
But they're not even home and you're enforcing that standard for yourself?
Lead from the front, Julie. Lead from the front.
Dang,
I'm
Army
blown
through
away.
and through. Madeline, anything?
I'm not really a snacker, but my go-to work from home lunch is the Bulldog spicy carbonara pasta, like the ramen. I eat that honestly 4 out of the 5 days a week. So
Oh my gosh, I love envisioning this. This just makes it really fun since we don't get to eat lunch together for the most part. So we are mostly a military spouse team, which is obviously why our organization has done so many cool things and been so successful. And we work in the veteran ecosystem of veteran organizations. And so just, I'm curious what you guys think. I never feel any real separation. I mean, obviously, two of you are veterans and mil spouses, but I never feel like it's weird. I feel like we all feel very much part of the same big ecosystem: veteran, military spouse, military family member. And there's a lot of shared experience there that does not end up feeling divisive. It feels very unifying. I'm curious what you guys all think about that.
For me, like early in my career, especially in nonprofit in the military space, I always felt like I had to share, probably overshare, that I was a veteran to feel like some sort of sense of like, um, people feel like I should be there. But now I think the name of our organization really helps because it is extremely inclusive, and it's not like this organization is only for veterans. It is for the whole ecosystem of the military family. So I think that helps us be relevant, but also for veterans who know how hardworking and how hard it is to be a military spouse or even a military kid, like that they are like, yes, this is a whole family effort. So it kind of brings it all together.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a lot of gratitude that you receive, or that I've at least received when I introduce myself and our affiliation, and the organization having the, ampersand military families as well. You can tell when you're in these rooms with other veteran service organizations, other veterans and military family members. I feel like, yeah, it is. We're just all one group, and we need every piece of the pie to really work together. So you feel that gratitude and sense of welcoming from these rooms, or at least I have thus far. So knock on wood, but feeling all right.
Any other deep thoughts?
I feel also, having been, or I am a veteran and a spouse, sometimes when you meet someone, there's usually this kind of built-in trust, and you sort of, you're going to have this shared experience. And I found that it can be deeper when it's a spouse, because um, depending on what you do in the military, your experience might be very different. But as a spouse, we share very similar experiences, and as Mary Bennett said, it fits into the whole piece. And so that's really validating. And I mean, it is a special bond. And I don't feel silly saying that. It really is.
Yeah, it certainly is. And so along with that, I mean, I think military spouses bring an unbelievable benefit to the workplace. Not the least of which because we have so much experience in overcoming regular challenges and getting stuff done. And especially as a startup, we are so used to having to just go to a new place and do a startup life. And I'm curious how you guys see that playing out in our organization with all our different coworkers. Like, I mean, we're all used to being like, oh, cool, I've never been to this place before, and now I have to set up all the doctor's appointments, all the, housing, everything, find the grocery store, figure out my favorite restaurants, like figure it all out every single time we move. And I'm curious, if anyone else notices that as a real positive for all of our coworkers and how they get stuff done at a relatively startup nonprofit organization.
I feel like military spouses were built to be program managers for startups. You are scrappy, you can juggle 18,000 things at once. You are mentally tracking 16 other things that no one else even knows about. You're filling in the gaps. You are being proactive to, put out fires before they've been created. So yeah, I definitely think whether we were built for this or it, built us into this mold, one way or another, we are that. And I think that's one of the reasons that you can kind of tell we, the veterans and military families, is like run by military spouses. Like we get things done, and we're very collaborative as well, because again, it really does take a team for all of this to be in this world, really. So yeah, you can definitely sense that here for sure.
I would also say that I think, to Mary Bennett's point, we collaborate more naturally maybe than the average person, because we're, like America, we are a melting pot to the extreme in the military. People from all over the world who have, left their comfort zones of where they grew up and experienced other cultures and societies as well, and had to integrate into those. And I think naturally you can make a best friend immediately, because that's just our community in general. And as well as just taking the initiative to get things done, because somebody has to do it, and you're often used to doing it by yourself. And so independent work, I think, is a lot stronger too with our community.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I also think it's funny because so many of us end up working at kind of weird hours sometimes. You, Madison, I'm calling you out right now, girl. But, because, hey, there's life happens, and you just got to figure out when you're going to fit it all in. And I think being part of an organization that is okay with that is really helpful. We also have a team member who's not on this call, but is a State Department spouse who's stationed in Europe right now. And, that for a lot of people would be a really difficult thing. And for us, we're like, yeah, no worries. Like, you're just in a different time zone. We're used to this. We know how to do this. So I think it is a very similar experience, but we're also a team that's willing to be flexible with all the different time zones that we're in.
Yeah. And I think in addition to, as coworkers, I think having bosses, Ellen, Julie, having bosses that know what you're going through. I have no shame saying, I've called my boss, Ellen, and, I think I'm about to lose my shit. I think I'm going to lose my mind. And having someone that understands that and can empathize in a way that just the general population can't, is such a stress reliever to know that somebody gets that you're not being flaky or you're not being moody. You just are juggling a million different things and you feel like you might just combust. So I think not only having colleagues that get it, but having bosses that understand, who take the 5 minutes to say, you're not crazy, it's going to be fine, goes such a long way.
Yeah, well, the feeling is mutual because, every time we've had those conversations, Madison, it's like, yeah, by the way, I also am about to lose my mind. Let's help each other through this. And it's really funny, but my husband and I and kids PCS'd just this last summer, and we moved to where Julie was already living, and then Mary Bennett just moved too. And I will tell you that, Julie joined the team about a year ago. She had probably was about 3 months before we moved here. And I was like, cool, Julie, you're now the emergency contact for my children. Thank you so much for your service.
I don't think I had been hired yet, and you were like, "Hey, can you check out this neighborhood?" Like,
100%.
I'm thinking of living here. Like, oh yeah, my cousin lives there. Let me tell you this information.
I did.
And
I was like, one of our interview questions was, "Can you please drive by this house and see if I should live there?"
Yes, and then it was like, oh, it's your move day. What can I do for you? What do you need? It's just so automatic to the point where you don't appreciate necessarily how not everyone lives that way. Like, I remember, this is kind of a different example, but I remember setting up a meal train for my sister-in-law, and she's like, how did you get people to sign up for this? How did you even think of this? I'm like, what? A meal train? It's like, military spouses live by this, It's just things that we maybe take for granted, but certainly are a benefit for this community.
Madeline, can I ask, what's it like coming into our team? How do we compare to some of the other teams that you might contract with? And what is one thing that maybe you like, as if someone's listening to this that might think that this is a little crazy, this dynamic, oh, I can't believe they do that in their org. Could you explain, what are things about our org that really help us flourish that you've enjoyed?
Yeah, I think coming from Squared Away, where like my home base is working with like 300 plus military spouses who get it, everybody understands what our lifestyle is like. And then getting to partner with an organization who also gets it is really nice because I can get both sides of it. Everybody understands what's going on and how we're all getting through the day. So it's really nice getting to step into that every single day and to continue working every day with people who understand and can relate to what's going on.
Love that. Okay, so as we jump into the next part of our conversation, this will be a little bit shorter of an episode. What are some societal misconceptions that you think people have about military spouses? MB's smiling.
Oh, I'm smiling because I feel like a lot of the misconceptions are seen in person when I'm with my husband and we get into a group of Army people or military people. Most of the time, the misconception is that I don't exist, or that I do exist, but I don't have anything relevant about my person, to contribute to the conversation, which is cool. I do know some of the acronyms now for sure. So I'm tracking some of the things they're saying. Even I'm tracking is apparently a thing that's used in the Army a lot. But yeah, I think a misconception is that we don't have our own personalities, identities, careers, interests, ideas, anything to contribute. And so yeah, but it's a bummer because I've seen that more like within the community than outside of the community. To be completely honest, I feel like when you introduce yourself as a military spouse to civilians, they're really interested and they're like, oh wow, what's that like? But inside of the realm a little bit more, I guess it's more in the boys club of things. But yeah, the misconception I feel is that we don't really join a lot of the conversations. Even if we're there, we're on the guy's shoulder for sure. Yeah.
Mary Bennett, I was going to say, I read a stat recently that military spouses now are the most educated group in America.
Hell yeah,
highest educated.
I could have said that with no data. That was just a feeling I had.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that made me think of that stat I just read.
I love that. I'll wear that on a shirt the next time I'm in one of these spaces. So thank you, Madison.
Well, the irony is that we're literally called dependents. And, you know, in America today, the vast majority of families are dual income. And of course, we are, statistically, we are underemployed at a really high rate. Because of all the factors of life, like you're moving all the time, you can't, you know, you don't have a network, you do. But at the end of the day, you know, running an organization with military spouses who have moved since we've been running this organization, many of us, those issues seem pretty irrelevant if you have a team structured in the right way. So this idea that we're dependents and that moving is somehow a barrier to our productivity is, like, we can say from this organization 100% wrong. You know, we are definitely not dependents, and we are definitely fully able to be incredibly high functioning workers despite moving and despite being remote.
How many of us have moved since being here? I'm like looking around the room, and it's our executive director, it's Danielle. Yeah, I mean, there's
I've moved twice since being here.
Same. That's so crazy.
It's been fun.
I've got a misconception that comes with moving, if we have time for that. And that is, I heard this not from a military friend, but from a civilian friend, neighbor, was that they have this conception that military families don't necessarily like want to make friends or have time to make friends because they're moving and a lot. And Madison, when you said that we all become friends really quickly, I think that's like a complete misconception. I think that most of the spouses, and particularly women I know, love to get out into the community and meet new neighbors and become very friendly very quick. And so if anyone is listening and has that misconception, please say hi to your military neighbors and invite them to things, because we'll probably say yes.
That's such a good point.
And you'll probably be friends for life. Like, I know so many people that have moved, whether they became friends with other military spouses or families, and they've, you know, now I have literally friends all over the country, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to LA. Who can I see there? Hey, I'm going to DC. Who do I need to see there? But
100%.
even non-military families, like when I was in Clarksville, Tennessee, I had, you know, people who were in my church or something like that that lived there and were not military, and still, you know, my son's best friend from kindergarten I keep up with and they're just a normal family from Tennessee that, you know, we happen to become friends with.
I'm in the market to make more Navy friends because I want to have vacation spots near beaches, and I need someone to stay with. So
You need more than Julie and I?
yeah,
Wow.
I've got the
Dang.
East Coast covered. I need more West Coast people.
Okay.
Very smart.
Well, it's a smart thing to advertise on this podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
So, you know, seeking friends.
Can I tell you my best hack though, Madison?
Yeah. Always.
My best hack, and I may seriously regret this with this going out into the world, is that if you go to Navy lodging or Navy Inn, you can go and stay on base for a incredibly discounted rate compared to the places around there. And like my favorite thing to do in the world is to go to Key West for New Year's, because you can wear flip-flops and walk around with your preferred drink and have no jacket on. And we stay at the Fly Navy building, and it is a just incredible time every time we go.
We're taking that as a preference for the Navy over the Army, Lauren. Just saying.
Hey man, I'm not going to Fort Drum. I'm telling you, like there's nothing. Nobody said that the Army had good bases with good places to stay.
I love it. Real quick, I just wanted to, before we hop off, Julie, can you share? I thought what you were sharing with me the other day was really insightful, where you talk about being a Navy Academy grad and the misconception people have when you're with your husband now on the spouse side.
Oh, yes. So, and it's not even, I don't necessarily even have to be with my husband, but so many times I've been asked if I'm wearing a Navy shirt, like, oh, did your husband go there? I've been asked, does your son go to the Naval Academy, when my son is playing Little League with this man's son and they're like 7 years old? And I'm like, what? 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 Why? And it always drives me really crazy. And I always, what I was saying to Madison was like, yes, my husband did go, but I want to lie and be like, no, just I went. But I also shared that I get it, because if I see someone who's even a generation ahead of me wearing some type of Army or Navy or any type of military, I will not necessarily assume that they are the one who served. But I've learned to always ask that, and oftentimes I'm surprised. And Lauren had a good story about this with her husband who flies for the airlines. Just always ask, and that goes a long way, because you can really hear some incredible stories from some women who have gone before us.
So we obviously talk about this idea of continued service for the veteran community, which is very easy to understand, right? Veterans have physically served in the military, and then we are inviting them through our programs to continue their service. But we feel, as a group of military spouses, that it's the exact same for us. You know, we can do things like our programs offer, like become a poll worker, or go to grad school and become a public servant in your state or city or county. And really it is continuing service. It's service outside of your military member, or it's service outside of the things that you did as a military spouse for the country. And so I think, most people maybe would be confused by that, but we all consider, in many ways, military spouses to have also served, and doing things on top of that is continuing their service. So should we just do a quick round robin about some of the different programs that we do have, and maybe you jump in and take one, and we can talk about this concept of continued service.
I heard you say public service, so I can't help but jump in and talk about our vet public service. While it does say vet in the name, that includes our whole suite of veterans and military families who are interested in serving, through some sort of public service, which could be through state and local government. It could be through nonprofits. We have educational opportunities with a fellowship, where we have networking for those different kinds of jobs. And if you thought you wanted to go and be in the corporate business world, but you really want to give back to your community, there's more information for you all to look at when it comes to public service, and see if that would be a better route for you and your personalities and desires.
I think that if you are in the market for friends and you're looking for a community, Bet the Vote is probably not the worst way to go, because one, you get to help out your community, work at the polls, and for anybody who's coming from maybe a job or an organization that they had to leave behind, it really is a good community. Elections happen year round. It's not just every 4 years like some people think. So it's not just something you do once in a while. You can volunteer, and a lot of times you get almost recruited to be a 2-year judge or chief judge, depending on the state you live in. So I think that the Vote would be a good organization for anybody out there, military spouse who's just moved, looking to meet new people. And then not only that, you get to meet the whole community while you're working. So it's a good option.
So we also have a program. It's fairly new, called Vet the News, and it kind of serves two purposes. It's a way for veterans and military family members to get in journalism. We are America's most trusted group, and we should be in newsrooms, and we should be reporting. And then also it serves as an algorithm-free news site that primarily focuses on stories written by veteran and military family journalists. So it's a really great opportunity if you're thinking about journalism, and we're looking to really expand that program. So definitely sign up for updates, and we'll have a lot more information coming soon. But I'm very excited about the growth of that program. So you can check that out at getvetted.org.
So along with Vet Public Service, we actually recently launched our career portal, giving access to military affiliated people to find jobs in public service in state and local governments. And it's right now an aggregator of aggregators. So there's a number of different ways that you can look for different careers and different options. And that you can find on our vetpublicservice.org page.
And I do just want to put a friendly reminder out that this year we have a big campaign, Military 250. It's really to encourage everyone to honor 250 years of Marine, Army, and Navy service with acts of service. We will soon on the website have the ability to find service opportunities near you on a map, and you can view other people's acts of service that have been completed all throughout the U.S. We are aiming to have 250,000 acts of service by this time next year. So definitely check out military250.org.
And then, of course, we have Vetted Conversations, where we are right now. So along with this podcast where we take on, issues relating to our civic life, being patriotic Americans and knowledgeable about our country and our country's institutions, being in the military community and talking to people about that and what it's like. Always trying to get our friends in the sports leagues to come on and talk to us about their experiences and their support for the military. We also do have some in-person events. Our second annual Flag Day convening will happen on Flag Day, June 14th, really to focus on this concept of continued service and how our community can lead the rest of the country in serving the country. And then we're launching a new event coming up right in time for Veterans Day in Houston, Texas. VetCon to again talk about this concept of continued service and also the need for continued education and how our civic systems run. I mean, we are people that are giving a lot of trust from the American public on how our government works, how what are the systems in place that run this great nation, and we should be the ones who know about it. Of course, it doesn't mean we do, right? We swear, our service members swear an oath to the Constitution. We're very close to how these decisions are made, but it doesn't mean we know, and that's something that I think we can all work together on remedying and being some of the most knowledgeable American citizens out there. But I do know that every American on this call is a very knowledgeable citizen and cares a lot about being knowledgeable, putting their patriotism in action, and not shying away from doing what's right, and doing it in a way that really elevates the brand of military spouses as people who are should be trusted, have a really important voice, and are out there on the ground making the country a better place. So thank you all for being part of this team. And this was a really fun conversation that we should have again and maybe get a little more gossipy in the future.
Yes.
Love
Naturally.
that. Our risk adverse exec will also love that.
It is not me that you are talking about.
When he's away, we will play.
Well, I appreciate all of you.
Same.
Yes,
Super
and
fun.
if you're listening and you're a military spouse, thank you. We want to hear from you. Drop in the comments your favorite part of the episode, and we would love for you to share your favorite veteran service organizations, your favorite nonprofits, and even your favorite military spouse owned businesses. So drop those in the comments. We want to hear from you. And I want to shout out our Riveter for being an incredible business owned by a military spouse, supporting military spouse in employment and creating American made products. And if anyone else has anything they want to shout out.
I want to shout out my military spouse, Navy spouse friend who just wrote a novel. And
you know what was just delivered to my door while we were talking, Ellen?
Yay! Okay, so the book is called Thinking About Forever. You can look it up. There are actually not a lot, but there are a handful of military spouse authors, and we are definitely all about supporting our own. So check it out and look for more military spouse authors.
I have to shout out Squared Away. Their military spouse founded. Our CEO is a military spouse, and 95% of all the employees there are military spouses. So I have to thank it, because without it, I would not be here with this great group of gals.
And we're
Any
so
other
happy
thoughts?
you are. So I'll
Thanks.
second that.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess we'll get back to work.
Back to work, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.